So this is what it looks like to have two circular needles. And I have one bonus tip to share with you here at the end. So two circular needles is really great for when you either don't want to work with really short tips on the 16-inch needles, but you need to do something small in the round like a hat or maybe socks, a sleeve, whatever. It's also great if you don't have a long enough needle to do magic loop, but you do have two sets of needles. So sometimes people will use two 16-inch needles. I like two 24-inch needles because then I can include my regular 5-inch interchangeable tips. So I've got two 24-inch needles here. So let me show you how this works, and then we will go into that bonus tip. It's actually really, really easy. I've got half of my stitches here on one needle. The other half is on the second needle. So if you've already got something in the round, you can start knitting your round, and once you get to the halfway point, drop one needle and pick up the other one, or you can transfer them like half and half. You can see the tail here is my beginning of round, so I'm halfway through the round. So when you go to work on two circular needles, you're always just working with the same needle together. I'm never crossing these needles or transferring them. So I'm about to work, here's my working yarn, I'm about to work this set of stitches. I'm only gonna be working with this needle. The other one is just gonna be hanging out and clinking on the table probably. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to slide my feeder needle, my resting needle, onto the stitches, and that frees up enough cord for me to bring this needle up to work on it. Again, I'm only working with one needle at a time. I am not even touching this other one. So now that leaves me free here to work across this set of stitches. So whatever my pattern is, I'm just going to knit across, and I'm going to speed this part up for you so that you don't have to sit here and watch me do this. All right, I'm approaching the end of this first needle. I've got two stitches left to do, and I just finished that whole set of stitches. So I'm going to then slide those stitches to the cord. I am done working with this needle set. Make sure you completely let that one go. And now we're going to rotate, continuing to work in the round. I've always got my working yarn coming from over here. And now I'm going to work with the second set of my needles. So again, these I never take this one and the one from the back and knit on the stitches from the front. It's always just using one set of needles at a time. So again, I would just slide that set of needles onto the stitches, again, it's the same needle, bring it around and work across the next half. I love this method. It's really, really great. So here's that quick bonus tip for you, and that is if you have a set of interchangeable needles, but you don't have 4 tips of the same size, here's what you can do. You can see that my needles are different colors. Well, I don't know if you can see because the sun is starting to really come in here and give me all the crazy shadows. Actually, let me just, hold on. A little loud. There we go, that helped. Okay. So you can now see that I have got 2 different colors of needles. If I bring them, there we go, you can see that. And that's because I have 2 different sizes of needles, okay? This is a really cool thing about whenever you work in the round, which we are doing now, is you will always have a feeder needle and a working needle. The feeder needle is the one that is going to be holding your stitches. The working needle is the one that the stitches are getting transferred onto. When I work these stitches, just imagine, I knit, and this needle, this working needle, ends up coming out here on the right-hand side again, right here. And then again, when I work these stitches, my feeder needle is the same one, my working needle is the same one, and it just keeps going around and around. So only my working needle needs to be the correct size. my feeder needle can actually be a size smaller. You don't want it to be bigger. Either the same size or smaller for your feeder needle. This can be used for any method in the round, but it works really, really great for this because let's say this hat here, I've got two different size needles. I've got the size 5 needle, which is the one I actually need for the pattern, which is my working needle on both sides. So the size 5 needle is the one that ends up coming up and I work with it. And then the size 4 needle is the one that's always the feeder needle that the stitches are coming off of. So when you have an interchangeable set of needles, you may not have 2 sets of needle tips that are in the size that you need, in my case a 5. So I was able to use the smaller size as the feeder needle, and I made them different colors to help me remember. But the size 5 needle is my working one. The size 4 needle is always going to be the one feeding, and that way I can still use this 2 circular needles in the round method with just one interchangeable set.